Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Jesse's Garage. Oh, excited to have you. Well, I've been watching the comments lately, and one of the comments that seems like it's come up more than once or twice, and that is, hey, Jesse, how do you attack a ratchet that is sealed? And so how do you go through and service a ratchet like that? How do you cut it open? Well, I got to tell you, I actually happen to have a few of these little ratchets here. So this one is a Westcraft, and we got this from one of our subscribers. He sent it over, and so my goodness, this thing is free flowing. It goes both ways, and it kind of catches a little bit, but more importantly, the selector switch is frozen in place. But my goodness, we see that it is an oldie but goodie. And when we say sealed, incidentally, you see how this is pressed in all the way around on both sides. And so that's what we mean by sealed. And so this one here, again, is free flowing. I got another one that we got a while back. It's an old Wizard. I don't know if you can see that. I think it's a Wizard, yeah. And so now this one here is locked up in this direction. The lever switch does work, but you can hear it. It's pretty rough, right? And so, but it barely goes in that direction. It's locked up in this direction. So it's not gonna move. And again, you can see that it's sealed all the way around. So how do we get into it? How do we service it? That's the big question, right? Well, I gotta tell you, there's a couple different ways to do it. One is we can go and grab our grinder and we can grind that whole face down, and we can really just kind of grind this flat, and then we can try to pop this out. Actually, we probably do it on this side, pop it out, and then we can service everything. But then we're left with the dilemma, how do we get it pounded back in? So we do that. And I'm thinking, are you cuckoo? Who does that? Nobody does that, right? Or at least I don't do that because I don't have the tools to press it back in place. So this is really kind of a dilemma. But I've done several different restorations on these kind of ratchets. So I'm going to take you along for the ride and tell you how I do it. And no, it doesn't involve a chop saw. It doesn't involve a grinder. It doesn't involve anything like that. We're not going to tear up the ratchet, in case you're wondering. And so, but really, here's the kind of the thought that we're going to go through and try to put this back in service. And so let's try. We got two different examples. We have everything to gain, nothing to lose on these. And so let's just see what we can come up with. Let me get the camera turned around and get you a little closer view, and let's kind of take a look at these. All right? All right, here we go. All right, so we are here at the toolbox top. So let's kind of take a little closer look here. See if I can adjust my light just a little bit. And so you'll notice that we have an oil port right there. And so most of the time when I see these, as we go through, this little oil port is full of grease and dirt and junk like that. This one is not. And so as I'm going through and looking at it, well, maybe a little bit it has in there. But that would be one area that you would need to inspect, is how does that look, right? The next area that you need to inspect is all around this anvil here as it's sticking out. And so we can see it moves just a little bit. I'm kind of suspecting that the gear inside is frozen, and that's frozen right up against this part right here. So this one actually moves. It's the other one, I think. But it's kind of rough, right? And so, but the little gear, that little paw inside actually is frozen in one direction. Now on this one here, let's take a peek and let's see. We see that it's not as clear, but it's not bad either. It's not full up to the brim. Let's see here. If I dig around just a little bit, we can see just a tiny, tiny little bit coming out of there. And you can kind of see it right on the end of this pick, right? And so you want to make sure that this is free and clear, by the way. And the reason why is because what we want to do is to be able to get some liquid in here and to let it start soaking, okay? And so this is where the selector switch is frozen. Of course, you know, that's another area that you need to kind of dig around all this dirt and kind of go from there. So That's what we're doing now. And because if it's frozen in there, we want to try to get it free. So step one, do a thorough inspection, kind of pick it loose a little bit and kind of go from there. So we're inspecting the anvil, see how that one turns. This one here, we're inspecting that oil port. And then as we go through, we're inspecting the selector switch area. And so can we break that any debris out of there free? All right, so once you've done all of that, now the trick is, what can we put in there? Well, step one, let's go get some WD-40 and let's spray it in there and let's see if that's going to help us, all right? I'll be right back here. Let me grab a bottle. Okay, I'm back. So let's go on to step two. Now, step two, again, we're going to take our WD-40 and we're going to put some in this oil port and all around. Now, make sure you have a rag that you don't mind sacrificing. This one's a little dirty anyway, so that's all right. So we're just going to point our little nozzle right inside there. Hopefully you can see that really well. And so we're going to go through and kind of let that soak in, even around the edges here, right? And so you want to just try to barely get some in there. See if I can get it just like that. And so we're going to let that one soak in for just a moment. Let's try to grab this one towards the front and let's do the same kind of thing. Barely pull that trigger. And we're going to come around to this side as well. And we're going to let it soak in all the way around, right? And so we're going to see what we can do to make that free up. All right, so we got that. Put a little bit on this side. All right, so we got quite a bit going on right there. So we're going to let that soak for just a moment. I'm going to grab me a little rag here, and then we're going to start playing. We're going to start trying to break it loose a little bit, right? And so see if we can get some of that WD-40 in there moving around just a little bit, okay? And so there's a little bit of that. And so that part is good. Hey, check that out. So immediately we got some progress, right? So there's step number one. Okay, flip it around. Not as precise. You can see it right there coming out the other end. That's okay. Flip this switch again. So that's good. And while we're here on this flip side, let's go ahead and throw a little bit in here. Right? And so we're going to let that kind of work its way in as well. You can see it's starting to seep down in because we want this switch to work really well for us here. All right, so I feel good. Man, that's awesome, right? At least we got it locking and catching in both directions. And so that part is really good. So one side works better than the other, but nevertheless, we are making progress. All right, so we're going to let that soak in for just a little bit. So that's one. We got to break it loose somehow, right? And so this is the very first step that I try to do on here. Now let's see what we can do with this one here. So as we're looking at it, this one here, remember it was a free-flowing one, and this one was locked up a little bit. Yeah, still locked up. And so, but look at all that gunk that's coming out of there, right? And so we need to probably work at this one a little bit more. Now this one's going to be more of a challenge because that selector switch is broken. But let's kind of put some more in there and let's just see what we can do here. In all of this, don't be afraid to get it soaking in there. So we want to be able to get that WD-40 working all the way around. And when you do that as gears, you see what happens? Look at that, it's pushing it out. You see all that gunk coming out of there? Not a bad thing at all, right? And so we want to go through and to try to get as much of that crap out of there, that old oil, that old grease as possible. That's the reason why we're kind of moving this thing around back and forth. So I hope that makes sense to you, what we're trying to do here. And so wipe this down, and then let's see again if we can get some more pumping out of there. And you can see it right at the bottom there. It's coming just a little bit more, right? And around the anvil, it's coming just a little bit more. So just keep on working that bad boy and see if we can get that stuff sloshing around in there a little bit. And so that's pretty important. I don't think we've done anything with this side yet, so let's do that. Okay, so we'll let that soak in for just a moment. Got a little bit on my toolbox. All right, so this thing is pretty well frozen up pretty good. And so I got it to move just a little bit, and that's what we're trying to do, just a little bit of movement here and there, right? And so we want this bad boy to work. And so we're gonna go through and see what we can do. See how we can get that lever to move a little bit now? So it's starting to work loose. We love that. All right. So now it's starting to catch, right? So that's good. So it's supposed to be free that way and catch that way. So that's awesome. Now we'll see what we can do. Check that out. We got it to move. All right. So there we go. Kind of a messy process, as you can see, but we're getting it, right? And so we love that. So now we got that broke free, but look at all that junk in there. How do we get all that out? That's the next question in my head, is that how do we clean that up? Because we don't want all that crud in there. So we're going to go through and just work this just a little bit more. Kind of put some more WD-40 around. Okay, let that soak in all the way around there. All right, so we're going to continue to work it. You can see there's more right there. We're going to put some on this side as well. Kind of let that soak in just a little bit, just like we've talked about before. All right, move that selector switch back and forth if we can. Here we go. And so it's still locked up on this side. So it's not going there. This side's moving just a little bit. It's starting, well, it's still free flowing a little bit, so we're not quite out of the woods, but look at all that crud that's coming out of there. All right, so now that we got it somewhat broke loose, here's your options as I see it. We can just let it sit and go from there. That's the easy way to do it. Now, if you don't have other tools and you're just trying to keep it basic, you're trying to keep it simple, nothing wrong with that. So that is option number one. Just let it sit, soak in, work it every once in a while, and then you go through and eventually it'll come clean, get it all cleaned out. All right, so there's one. The other option is we go through and we can use some brake cleaner and spray inside there and get that to work out, right? So that'll be, I've done that before. And that tends to work pretty all right, and it goes through and it evaporates fairly quickly. But the other option, option number 3 is, how about putting it into the ultrasonic cleaner? Now, here's the danger with that. The danger is that once you soak it, water is going to seep in there, that cleaning material is going to seep in there, which is going to be good. It's going to break down all that oil, right? And so hopefully that vibration and that heat is going to clean everything out. And so that is a great thing. The downside is you got to make sure that everything is clean and out of there. And I'm going to show you how I do it, because that's what we're going to do with this one here, because I'm just kind of an impatient guy here and I don't want to wait days for this thing to kind of work its way loose here and then having to keep going through this scenario where I keep having to wipe it down, right? And so we're going to try to clean this thing all at one time. So let's go put it in the ultrasonic cleaner is the way I'm going to choose to do it. And then let's see what we can do. Now, let me get the camera turned around. Let me get you set up over there. And then let's go from there, okay? All right, let me get the camera turned around. All right, so we're here at the ultrasonic cleaner. And just as one quick little reminder, this one's locked up on this side. We got it broken loose a little bit, I guess. Man, it's hard. And this side is for sure, well, no, it got broke loose a little bit on that side, but man, it's not easy at all. And so you can see more junk's coming out of there, right? And so we got to get that cleaned up. And I'm going to choose to put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Then this one here is not bad at all. So flip that one, but it's rough, right? So this one, we're getting a little bit of leakage out of there. And just as much as that WD-40 is leaking out of there, we expect whatever fluid and cleaner we're going to use in here is going to come out of there as well. So now I've gone through and I've heated this up to 55 degrees Celsius. And so I've tried it all kinds of different ways. I've tried it at 50, 55, 60, and even 65 is the highest I've gone on the temperature on these. Today we're going to be, and I'm conducting an experiment, and it's the reason why I'm doing 55, because I'm trying to see how this all is going to react. Now you can see my water's kind of a little bit dirty, just because I've been cleaning some tools. So, but with all that I have inside there, doesn't matter. We are going to dirty this thing up like crazy, right? So now again, we're not cutting this open. We're not doing anything. We're just going to do it just like this. This is how we're going to address the scenario. So now, incidentally, I'm putting it in here, and here's what I think. I think we need an escape route. So that little port you want to put down is my thought. Okay, and so there's one, and so here's the other one. We're going to put that one down as well, and so we're going to let that kind of just soak in there. And while we're doing that, incidentally, I'm going to put my lid back on because I want to capture my heat that I worked so hard to get up to. And incidentally, I don't know if this makes a difference or not. It makes me feel good. I threw a little towel on there just to kind of keep as an insulation barrier that a little bit of that heat in there. Plus, incidentally, here's the reason why I really like doing it as well, is when I get tools out and I clean it, it's so warm, it dries out my towel. So I love that. So I don't know if that's a tip for you or not, if you like that or not, but there you go. Now down here, I don't know if you can see it, but I got it at 55, it's up to temp, and this one says 30 minutes, and this is the vibration side. And so when I go click, then away it goes. So let me go ahead and turn it on. We'll probably cut away because you're not wanting to sit here for 30 minutes watching or hearing it vibrate. All right, we'll be back when it's done.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, it is done with the 30-minute cycle. Let's check on it here real quick. You see all the heat creates all this moisture in here. And so we're going to get that off of there. And then we're going to take our little magnet and we're going to reach inside here and see what we can pull out. So I always kind of give it a couple dips and kind of see what I can kind of get to drain there. So let's just kind of play with it for just a moment. Now, the thing you need to keep in mind, because of the material that's on there, you have to go through and rinse it pretty quickly. Otherwise, it may start to rust on you. So I'm going to dip it down in the bucket here. And I am rinsing it now. So we'll see how this is going to look. So I got it rinsed, or at least dipped in the water. I'm going to come in here and kind of dry it off to some degree. And so, see if I can pan out just so that you can see me a little bit better. And so I'm kind of going through and doing that. And then we may need to do it for a few times. But anyways, as we get going, we'll set that down for just a moment. Here we are. I can tell that's a lot freer. And I forget which one this is. This is a Westcraft. And so that's way, way, way better. And so if I flip it, still, now it broke loose a little bit, and so I can still get it to swing back and forth, but that's because we don't have any oil in it. And so we're going to go through and do one more session. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm working it loose just like we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in and let it get another 30-minute session. I mean, I might as well while I'm here, right? And so I'm probably not going to do that again. You can see that little oil port there. And so that's getting cleaner and cleaner as we get going. But just in case, let me grab my little pick here and let's just kind of play around while we're right here in front of the camera. And so as we get going, so you can see there's still a little bit of discoloring that's coming out of there. And so we want to go through and make sure we get as much of that gunk out of there as we can. So that tells me that we still have material inside of it, right? So this is a Westcraft. at least it's broken loose, because remember, I believe this is the one that was frozen up here. And at least we got it going. So that's one, all right? So let me put that back in for just a moment. And let's get our magnet and let's see if we can find the Wizard now. So, and this is the Wizard. So let me do the same thing here. Let me dip it into some water. So I am going to dry it off now and kind of get this somewhat manageable so we can kind of see it. Drying it off or dipping it in the water cools it down, by the way. And so that allows us to touch it a lot easier, because as it reaches temperature, this thing gets pretty hot. So let's see here. All right, so we got that. All right, so we got it free. Woohoo! So, and at least it seems like it's working good in both directions. So I love that. This one's a little harder, but hey, at least we're breaking it free. Let's inspect that port. Let me grab my little pick here. Let's see what we can find. I think this one wasn't as bad, if I'm remembering correctly. I can get down in there quite a bit deeper with this one, but look at that. Look at all that gunk that's still there, right? And so just to show you again, here's a clean pick. We're going to get down in there. We're going to see what we can come up with here. So we still got dirt in there, right? So breaking it loose. And so let's see if I can hold it and turn this thing. There we go. I want to kind of get in there deep. And so that kind of gives you an idea of how much grease and gunk we still have in it. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to kind of come back in there and we're going to dip it in. And then after that, we'll look at it one more time and show you how we dry the inside, or at least what I try to do to dry the inside of this out. Okay, so here we go. Make sure, yep, that lever flips back and forth pretty easy. All right, so let's dip that back in there. And then we're gonna put our lid back on and do another 30 minutes. So let me go ahead and click it on and then we'll be back.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, we are back again. So let's dig them out real quick and let's just see what we have to work with. So let's see if I can grab one of them and lift it up. There we go. And then we're gonna go and get this bad boy rinsed off. Okay. And we're going to dry it off here real quick once we dipped it in the water. So we can see that one's flowing. Flip the switch. All right, we got that one flowing. And so you can see, now you can see it's metal on metal down there, right? And so it's nice and clean and clear. So let's dig out the other one and let's see what we can find here. Here we go. Okay, so we're drying this one off here real quick. Oh yeah, that's way better. Now this one is kind of better. Yeah, it's better, way better compared to the way it was for sure. Especially since this was Westcraft. It's going in both directions real easy now. And that lever will flip. So that'll be good. Yep. All right, so we have that. So now let's go on to the next step. And this is going to be step number 4, which is going to be pretty doggone important, right? So let me get set up over here by the air compressor. Okay, so I'm right over here by the air compressor now. And as you can see, the lighting isn't as good over here, but we have that port, that oil port. It's nice and clean. But now this is a very important step. Step number 4, you take your air compressor and your nozzle, and I'm going to point it right at that hole, and I'm going to turn it on. And as I do, I'm going to try to blow out any of the moisture. Hopefully it'll start coming out. And notice I have my rag here so I can kind of catch it so it doesn't fly everywhere. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Did you see all that moisture shoot out around this anvil, right? And so that's what we're looking for, just like that. So, okay. So now we got that pretty much dried out in there. And so we're going to let this rest for just a moment. And let's grab our next one and let's do the exact same thing. And let's see what we can do. Let's see if we notice any moisture flying out of this one again, okay? All right, here we go. Did you see it? Did you see it shoot out around the edges? That's what we're looking to do. We're trying to blow it all out. All right, so now that one is pretty much cleared out as well. Let's see that. Now, one of the things you may have noticed, I blew also that tip of that nozzle went all the way around and even around this selector switch, all the way around the anvil, all the way around the plate and inside there. I'm trying to get as much air inside there as I possibly can. And when I press down on that, you've seen that water kind of flush out of there, right? And so that's going to be an important step. So that was step number 4. All right, let's go get set up. And let's see what we're going to do next. I'll be right back here. Okay, the next step, so this would be step number 5, I believe, is that since these are pretty much dried out, or at least as we think it is, let's go ahead and just start cleaning these up a little bit, okay? And so we're not going to put any oil in there because we don't want to do it quite yet. That's going to be our last step that we're going to do. So right now, some of the other comments that I've had is, man, Jesse, how do your tools turn out so good? Well, the very next step is going to do, has to do right here with this wire wheel. So let's go through and do some of that, and then let's see how that goes. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. So this is going to be the Wizard now. So I'm sure you can probably see that now a little bit better perhaps. And so remember it had all that surface rust and it was dirty and such like that. Well, we haven't wiped it all down yet, but anyways, as you can see, we got most of it pretty much cleaned up with the wire wheel. And so how good is that, right? So same type of thing. We still need to oil it, but at least we got it cleaned up this way. And so there's the Wizard, and then here is the Westcraft. And so now let's take it a little bit further with our little tiny Dremel with the wire wheel on it. My brush is getting kind of worn on that, but let's see what we can do. All right, let me grab it. Okay, so we are done with that. I'm going to scoot the camera back a little bit and let's do a little bit on this conditioning belt, just a little bit, and let's just see how this works out for us. Okay, here we go. right, so we're going to wipe this all down here, and let's see what it looks like from here, and that'll determine where we go next from here. So we're going to just wipe off all the extra little debris here and there and try to get it spick and span, right? And so let's see what we can come up with here. And this one says, can you see it? It says Western Auto right there too. Wow, look at that. That's awesome. Of course, we know that on some of them, but remember, this one says made in the USA, and so patent number, and it says oil, but it says Wizard, but we know Western Auto was distributor of that, but this one just flat out says Western Auto. Man, killer, killer, killer. Love it. So now the thought is from here, the next step is, what do? Do we leave them like this? So here they are. They're all cleaned up now. Do we leave them like this? My goodness, sometimes I get the temptation to blue everything except for leaving this a little bit polished and leaving this polished, maybe blue the inside of that. That would look kind of killer, don't you think? I kind of like that. But I think on these ones, just for the sake of, we're just trying to do a cleanup video, we're just going to leave them just like that. So now we're going to go through and put some oil in there. That's the next step. Okay, so I'm going to use this little 3-in-1 oil. You can use about anything you want to, really. You just need to lubricate it in there. Now, the reason why we're using probably an oil rather than our typical little quick lube that we have is because we can't open this up, right? And so we're going to come in here and we're just going to pour a little bit in there just at a time and let it kind of work its way around, even around here. Because remember what we did last time with the WD-40, just going to let it soak in and then kind of go from there. So we'll let that kind of soak in for just a moment there, kind of give it a head start by giving it a little bit of twist so it's not just pooling at the bottom there, okay? And so we're going to let that work its way in, and even on this side, we're going to take some of that. And so are we going to have to wipe this all up? Oh yeah, for sure, no doubt. Oh my goodness, I could already tell the difference, right? And it's important, incidentally, that you just don't put the oil in there and just do it like this. You got to move it around. Let that oil, you know, kind of move from side to side, front to back, you know, all kinds of different ways. And then what you'll start noticing is that it's starting to get looser and looser, right? So we have that. And then don't forget about our little ball detent right down here. And so I can feel it kind of going down. So we're going to put it just a little bit here, and then I'm just going to press on it and let it go down. Now you can use just like a little punch, but that's up to you, whichever way you'd like to do it. So again, we're going to do just a little bit more. And did all of the grease and gunk come out of there? Well, we'll never know. I can see a little bit of brown there, so that tells me that maybe not, right? And so, but we're just trying to get most of that junk out of there, degrease it, and then kind of move from there, right? And so, wow, I can tell a huge difference already. All right, so we're going to let that just sit there for just a second. We're going to do the same thing on this one. That is the process of getting this thing cleaned up. So I'm going to wipe this down, just kind of give us an overview here real quick. Give this a quick little wipe down with my little rag that still had a little bit of alcohol in there, right? So we have that. All right. Oh man, that one is smooth as all get out. Yeah, that one is smooth. And this is the Westcraft one. And so, wow, love that. Okay, so this is the Wizard one. And so, all right. So there's that one. Yeah, I can tell this one's getting smoother and smoother as we go about, right? And so, wow, love it, love it, love it. All right, let me end the video here. Let me turn it around and let's see what our finished product looks like in front of the camera, okay? I'll be right back here. Okay, we are back. Wow, let's check that out. All right, so let's take a peek here. So this is the Westcraft, and again, this wasn't a kind of bling it out type of video. This was all about how do we service a ratchet that has an oil pour and that's sealed all around. So this isn't, I mean, you could leave it to this level perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with this. This looks great, actually. And so you can see that handle as it comes through here. In fact, let me turn it this way so you can get the lettering correct. And so you can leave it like this, or you can take it a step further. You can polish this out. You can blue it. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it. But again, how do we go through and service this? Now, as we are looking at this, remember this is the one I threw a little bit of oil in there, right? And so we're going to go through and try to get this thing cleaned up as much as possible. And this is the one that's just smooth as all get out now, right? And so voila. And so that's what it turned out like. And that's how we service it. Because remember, the Westcraft, I believe, was the one that got broken. This is the one that got locked up, right? And so, wow, wow, wow. And so there you go. That's what we're looking at right there. Okay, so there's one. Now let me get to the other one here. And so as we are looking at it here, and so, yeah, same thing, back and forth. Yeah, so, and here's the Wizard as we see it. And so voila, how nice is that, right? And so this is how it turned out. Anyways, that's our video on how to service sealed ratchet with only an oil port. All right, guys, I hope you liked the video. For those of you who've been wondering, for those of you who had asked if we'd make a video on how to do that, I hoped it helped you. All right, until next time, we'll see you on the next video.